want to welcome in Kevin Green, senior markets correspondent here on the Schwab Network, to help set up some of the other action that we're paying attention to today. KG, let's start out with a look at Bitcoin, still under 90,000 right now. What does that say to you?
Well, obviously, we've seen a little bit of weakness when it comes to Bitcoin, and it is a very volatile product here. And if you are looking at the Bitcoin futures, yes, we're trading at around $89,000 right now. And unfortunately, from a technical standpoint, you really kind of hold these levels. If not, you're looking at around 75,000 as your next area of support. I think this kind of just signifies the fact that we have maybe some uncertainty in the market, maybe policy as well. I think a lot of crypto traders were expecting a little bit more from the administration when it comes to a Bitcoin reserve, as well as other items within this space. And then we also had that big hack as well. So that kind of created a little bit of a downturn when it came to Solana, as well as maybe some of these altcoins. Bitcoin seeing a little bit of pressure, Ethereum seeing the same here. But once again, I think there's multiple factors that are kind of taking place. And it's had a really decent run now. Unfortunately, it is technically pretty close to bear market territory. I think it may have recovered by about $1,000, in the last hour and a half or so. But, we have seen a retracement around 20% from those highs. So once again, the technical setup kind of signifies that maybe we see a little bit more selling pressure, but let's see if some people, start to step in here and perceive this level as an area of value.
Is this, as the trend that's happened recently, part of it? I know you said there's multiple factors, but does the overall risk-off tone recently weigh on Bitcoin?
I mean, it could be one of those products that gets deleveraged first. Obviously, once again, being a little bit more of a high beta product. And then also there's probably a lot of winners that have been holding it for a fairly long time, and maybe they are taking some profits right now. There's still going to be some tailwinds over the next couple of months here when it comes to Bitcoin. So we definitely have to keep that in mind, especially if we do see Donald Trump and the administration really go through with the Fort Knox visit. That could also kind of create a little bit of speculation when it comes to the cryptocurrency market. But once again, I think it's risk off, and then it's just kind of just negative news overall that's just kind of hitting the space. And I think this is actually a fairly healthy pullback. We saw a little bit of a consolidation. It wasn't able to gain any traction, and then now potentially coming back down to 75,000, you might get some buyers to step in that kind of missed out on this election rally, if you will.
Is there the potential for a catalyst? If so, what's the next catalyst for it to, I know you just mentioned that, it's recovered a little bit from hitting that bear market territory, but is there a catalyst in the near term that could potentially send Bitcoin back higher?
I think if you, once again, continue to put individuals within the administration that's going to be crypto friendly when it comes to regulations, I think that could be a short-term catalyst. I kind of mentioned it earlier, the Fort Knox visit and the questioning of our gold reserves here in the United States. Could be a catalyst as well. Probably not a fortunate one, but an unfortunate one. But that could also be a catalyst here. And then if we do get a little bit more of a risk on sign, Diane, we also have to just keep in mind, if we're talking just the broader equity market, and this also aligns with Bitcoin and crypto as well, usually around this time is when we see volatility. We usually see a lot of, profit taking around February and March. So this is not outside of the realm of seasonal trends. And I think we have to just be mindful of that. This doesn't seem yet that there's any type of black swan or major correction that's on the horizon. It could happen, but you usually need several different catalysts, news catalysts, to really try to drive that type of action. Right now, this kind of just looks technical and seasonal in nature. Profit taking, come back, hit some critical areas of support, and then try to bounce back higher. Okay.
And then just given the overall tone that we've seen in risk off, I want to get a big picture thought from you on the S&P 500 levels that we should be paying attention to today. I mean, we saw a decline the past few days. What are the levels that we should be looking out for today?
Yeah, I would say if you're kind of looking at it, you want to be able to hold 59.50 to the downside. And then to the upside, I'm actually looking at 60.30. It seems like we are seeing some call selling flows right around that level, and that could be an attractive area for those in the market. And we haven't seen any type of massive flushes yet. And so until we actually start seeing really aggressive selling across the board, I think right now this is more just a rotational event that's taking place. Mag 7 getting hit a little bit, but you see value stocks and defensive stocks actually catching a little bit of a bid. Those have actually attractive dividend yields, or any type of yield for that matter, are catching a bid. And that's not usually a sign that a major correction's on the horizon. Usually when you start seeing selling across the board, that's where you get a little bit more concerned. Right now, I think that even maybe another day to the downside probably would be healthy for this market, try to readjust some of these valuations. And you're starting to see it with a lot of these high beta stocks that have corrected pretty healthily over the last week or so. You want to continue to see that happening. And then I think that's, once again, something that the market's going to be okay with. We might have some headwinds today when it comes to consumer confidence. We have to keep that in mind. But I think Friday's print when it comes to PCE, most likely, based on analyst expectations, probably will come in line with expectations. And I think the market probably will rally off of that, wherever level we're at.
And then speaking of health, I want to get a thought from you on HIMS and HERS. The shares under pressure this morning off the back of their latest quarterly numbers. What stands out to you, KG?
Yeah, so this is a stock that's seen a lot of volatility over the last couple of weeks. A lot of speculation, a lot of options positioning. So when you had the earnings announcement, obviously there were some decent things and there's some negative things. And I think there's just an unwinding of positioning just in general here. We saw revenue growth actually grow around 95% on a year-over-year basis, coming in at $481 million for the quarter. Street was looking for around $470 million. And their adjusted earnings per share came in at 11 cents, beating the Street's expectations of 10 cents here. But they did have disappointing gross margins. That came in at 77 cents, or 77%. Street was looking at 78.4%. The big headline here is the fact that they may stop actually selling the compound semaglutide weight loss drugs. That's because of the FDA decision to kind of reduce the classification of drugs like Ozempic and things of that nature from being on that shortage list, which gave the compounded GLP-1s the opportunity to thrive. Now that's being adjusted. Now, I will actually say there is a lawsuit that was placed against the FDA yesterday evening. Actually, it was announced at the time of this earnings announcement that is trying to battle that and trying to put some of those drugs back on that shortage list. That, if they win that could be actually a tailwind, but it's going to be a very big uphill battle. And I think that's another reason why you're seeing this sell off, because it has been a really decent growth driver for the company. So, unfortunate, but once again, a very volatile name. It's maybe the move to the upside was a little bit more aggressive than what the valuations were showing.
I have heard anecdotally that there has still been some shortages, but in terms of the actual name brand versions of those, the Wegovy, Ozempic class. So we'll see if there's something to that case. It is interesting to see that HIMS and HERS saying they're not going to offer the semaglutide after the first quarter, even given that the FDA indicated they essentially wouldn't come down hard on those compounders. But it looks like, they're just kind of getting in front of it. And to your point about just mixed views, you got Needham out maintaining a buy on HIMS and HERS, raising their price target to 61. Citigroup, though, maintaining a sell. So it's, kind of both sides of the coin here. Certainly one to watch. Thanks a ton, KG, for the breakdown on HIMS and the macro picture of Bitcoin as well.